everyone. Welcome to the Tech Summit Podcast, episode 14. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. Remember, if you are watching this on YouTube, social media will be right here at the bottom of the video. If you guys are listening on other platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor, we are going to be in the respective descriptions.
Of course, that's going to be the case for whatever platform you're using to listen to us right now.
Now, of course, there is quite a bit to talk about today. Cyberpunk is still running into so many problems. I faded that out way too quick. Cyberpunk is running into so many problems. The 3080 Ti got delayed. And of course, we finally built my new computer. And, I'm excited to talk about that. But of course,
it's been a big week.
First, we must go back to the all too familiar well and Francisco's mortal enemy. And I believe you have some bad news that you wanted to share with us to your loyal fans who are always eager, waiting for the newest Tech Summit review.
Hello, people of YouTube. I'm here to deliver on, honestly, just some more depressing news, and it is something that does burn my heart every night, every day, every time I think about it, and every time that I have to cry myself to sleep about it. I am actually kind of upset about this, but essentially there is not going to be an AirPods Max review on time anymore. I wanted that to be a review for sometime around the 22nd or so. But unfortunately, what happens is that I was in the middle of, on December 8th, I went on Apple's website and I placed the order for the AirPods Max. Like the same day that I heard that they actually existed and that they were actually going to come out. Because I've been waiting for these since very early this year, since they've been rumored. So I ordered it through PayPal. And I was like, yay, all right, I'm going to get these soon. I'm going to review them, and it's going to be a great time. Well, I was expecting to receive them sometime between the 15th and the 17th. Problem with that is that already comes the 15th, and I'm like, I haven't received an email for it being shipped or anything. I wonder what the status is right now. So I go, and I checked my order, and guess what? Order canceled. I'm like, all right. Well, a lot of swears are coming out at this point. And I call Apple, and pretty much, like, I just call the customer service rep just to complain because I know that she can't do anything for me. And the most that I can really ask for is just, like, why did it get canceled? And even she was like, it just seemed like a fraudulent purchase. Maybe you should ask PayPal. And I was like, so you're gonna make me go through PayPal too now? I'm gonna have to bother that rep also. But yeah, that essentially just means that there will be an AirPods Max review at some point. Just whenever there's legitimate stock of it, because right now all that there really is just a bunch of scalping going on. Exactly. A lot of scalping on eBay for those where you can see them going for around $800 due to stock issues. And when you go on Apple's website and you check how long it's going to take for them to start arriving again, it's like somewhere between 14 to 16 weeks. That's already months. So pretty much like closer to springtime, still technically winter. And yeah, like that's pretty much when you can expect a review of those to come out, unless I know somebody that bought a pair of AirPods Max and I can be like, hey, like, can I borrow those for a little bit? And unless that's the case,
I do think it actually is straight up spring. Like if you're talking about 12 to 14, 14 to 16 weeks, 16 weeks puts you like basically at April. So
yeah, we would be actually.
You would be,
especially if it's like the full 16 weeks.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just really unfortunate. You really want to be able to review this thing right when it's coming out, so that way you can tell people if they want to get it or not. And now by the time you get it, it's entirely possible that people might have made up their mind already. And
yeah,
which not speaking for Tech Summit over here, by the way, $550 AirPods are not worth it, but that is the Chris opinion.
You see, I do want to come in with that exact same take too. I don't think that any pair of Bluetooth headphones are going to be worth it, because it's not like these are super professional studio monitors or anything like that. They're just headphones. And you're definitely not worth that kind of money at all. And I was definitely going to say that in my review, unless the AirPods Max surprised me to the extent where I was like, no, you're not going to get this kind of sound anywhere else within the wireless headphone market. Because I have tested a bunch of Bluetooth headphones, like premium Bluetooth headphones this year. I mean, I'm currently testing the Drop plus THX Panda headphones. Fantastic pair, by the way. I've tested the Bose 700, the Sony XM3s. I've dabbled into the fours briefly, but I currently only own the threes, the Surface headphones too. I've tested the Razer Opus. I've tested quite a few premium wireless headphones. So like it would have been nice to bring all of these perspectives in and be able to say, yeah, like compared to these headphones, it is really good, or it's not that much better, or maybe you're better off going with these options instead. Like it just would have been nice to know. However, let's be honest, like this year just isn't the year for Tech Summit to get anything.
Really isn't.
Yeah, I've been coming across these scalping issues since September.
What was wrong one?
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, it's not really a womp womp for Tech Summit. It's more just
And then the da-na-na-na-na-na-na for every time that the boogeyman gets mentioned.
Yeah.
Or the boogeyman. But yeah, like it happened with the RTX 3080, then the 3090, then the 3070. For Chris, it actually happened with the Ryzen 5000 series Zen 3. And then it happened with the PlayStation 5, and now it's happening with headphones, of all things. Headphones.
Of course, for the people who care, it's also happening to the Xbox to a lesser extent, but
Yeah, but because I was trying to get the PlayStation, that's the only reason why I brought that up.
That's
but
right. The Xbox doesn't have Demon Souls on it.
Yes, that is a pretty big reason why. I really wanted to play Demon Souls. Now I'm like, okay, I can wait. But still, if I had gone to PlayStation 5 when I was supposed to, I don't think I would be in this state of despair, of absolute despair.
It's just really bothersome because a lot of those things you mentioned, like, those are things that you kind of just want for the sake of just, having a 3080. You want to be able to put that into your computer so you can, upgrade and get much better power and better resources. PS5, you want to be able to play Demon Souls. This is probably, to my understanding, this is like the first instance where you got scalped out of an object that you were using for your actual work.
I mean, this happened a bunch of times because the 3080 would have been very helpful when it comes to work mostly. I actually don't really game all that much on my PC. Like when I do is usually because I'm streaming. And even that, like I still consider it to be work because, you do have a crowd to entertain, or I guess in my case, like a small little group of people. I very much appreciate that group of people. But yeah, like it would have been very useful for streaming. It would have been super useful for video rendering as well, since Resolve uses GPU rendering. And that could have dramatically sped up my renders too, I think, in comparison to like a 2080.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally get all that. I'm just, what I'm saying is like, you didn't like the 3080. You would have probably gotten, even regardless of any review videos that you would have done for it. The AirPod Maxes were being purchased specifically for review.
Yep.
It was specifically for your job.
Yep.
It was specifically for this particular thing, and it interfered with your ability to do your job.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay. And the answer is absolutely yes. The one thing that I only intended to purchase for review purposes, even that, like I couldn't get. So yeah, scalpers did it again for me. You're always hitting that at the right time. This is going to become a recurring thing, FYI, guys.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I hope, I mean, I imagine it's going to get really annoying, but like, scalpers are annoying. So.
Yeah, you guys will be fine. An annoying sound for annoying people. But with that said, I do have some good news that I wanted to briefly bring up, and it's
please.
that Hardware Unbox is now working again with NVIDIA, which is awesome.
Of course, yes.
Hardware Unbox absolutely slammed NVIDIA, as they should, like considering that awful PR stunt that they tried to pull there.
Right, yeah. Which, of course, NVIDIA apologizing twice, it wasn't really an actual apology, more it was just a sorry we got caught.
Yeah, essentially. And we're like, hey, can you not publicize this next time?
Like, come on, man. Why you gotta air out the dirty laundry? Let's just hash it out. And man.
Yeah, man. Like, it's not like we made a video on you, so
You
we're
gotta
gonna make
work
a
on
video
your
on us.
communication skills.
I could only imagine that. Like, I feel like you misunderstood us in the first email.
Are you mad? No. Okay, all right. Now you see, this is the problem.
Oh man, but it is great that they're finally working together again.
It is, and of course, it is nice to hear that some things are working. Of course, there are other things that aren't working.
Oh, well, tell me about that.
Like console versions of Cyberpunk.
No way.
The Cyberpunk drama train just keeps on rolling. Over the last week, we've seen the game get delisted from PlayStation Store rather, excuse me.
Yeah.
Which is unprecedented for a game of that size and scope, I guess, more or less, of that much publicity.
It's that big of a deal.
Refunds are being processed without much, without any discussion whatsoever from both Sony and Microsoft. And of course, CD Projekt Red themselves said to get a refund if you're not going to be patient. Which that is also how they worded it. That's also very, very passive aggressively. That is how they worded it. If you do not want to wait until January for a patch, go ahead and refund it. It's like, okay.
That's so sassy.
So we have all of that going on. Best Buy last night announced that they will now accept refunds on open copies of the game, which Best Buy never does that.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if it's a sealed copy, if you don't have the receipt, they'll give you trouble. But now it's just, oh, yeah, all right, full refund for a game that you probably play for like 6 hours before giving up on it. Yeah, totally fine. Which is funny because Steam won't do that right now. So.
Wait a second. I thought the Best Buy had like one of the best return policies. Oh, you got 15 days to return your item, no questions asked. That's always what they said. I remember back when I worked at Best Buy. I used to work at Best Buy.
Really?
Yeah. And when that happened, they actually, like, our own management would tout this return policy, and then like they themselves would be very like when it came to returns and things like that, especially when it came to big ticket items. Or like if anybody came to the store to return anything, they would have a conversation with that specific employee and be like, hey, so this person returned this, which means that you really have to make up for those numbers. Yeah. So
not going to be very good for the workers there now. Cyberpunk returns coming in.
Yeah. So with that said, I mean, at least it's only $60, right? Like
it's probably a mountain of $60 though. You probably have a lot of people who bought copies. This is a game that allegedly sold around 8 million copies total.
If it was that one guy at that one store that just happened to sell a bunch of copies of Cyberpunk because he was like that much of a fan,
or maybe that employee just happens to be the one that has to handle all the returns, so it gets pinned on them. They weren't even there on the day. They didn't work on the day of the launch, but they have to handle all the returns.
It's like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hype this up for the pre-order, man.
So yeah, it's unprecedented just how much. Oh, it even got dunked by BBC actually.
BBC talked about this.
BBC talked about the whole controversy, and they dunked on them. They made a comment of just like, oh, they probably should have just made a better game. They should have made sure it was good first before releasing it.
No, granted, easier said than done.
You had people in the BBC studio being like, oh. So yeah, and of course, also last night was announced, or leaked, I guess, rather, that the studio, CD Projekt Red, had a big company-wide meeting with front office and execs and management, fielding what is essentially described as a rebellion from developers who are all collectively, I'm pretty sure I can say the P word, pissed.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't say that word. They were all collectively really pissed in like the most angry and aggressive show of I told you so I've ever heard. Because all the developers seem to already know that this game was not ready to come out. It was not ready to be shipped at all. There was mountains of crunch on the developers for a very, very long time. And it's going to continue because they obviously have to rush to try and patch the game and fix it up, especially now that it's been delisted from the PlayStation Store, which cuts right into those holiday sales that front office really wanted, which is why
They have the
refused to delay
opposite
that
effect.
further. Exactly. It's like it's a complete mess. We went from
Mhm.
having this was not just a couple weeks ago. This was probably one of the most anticipated games of all time, and now it's one of the biggest colossal like cluster Fs I can think of. I'm not going to say colossal failure because it
Mhm.
made its money back. And there's a lot of people out there who are still satisfied with it, especially if you're on PC and you have a PC strong enough to handle it.
Yeah.
But even then, you have people that are complaining because the game doesn't have the game's failed to deliver on a lot of promises.
Mhm.
A lot of things that they showed in like early tech demos or insisted were going to happen didn't happen.
Yeah.
The 3 branches of the your 3 origin story branches don't actually make that much of an impact outside of the first 15 minutes or so.
Ah.
Exactly, yeah.
Isn't this game supposed to be pretty long?
It's supposed to be an RPG,
Yeah.
but they sneakily on the Twitter profile labeled it as an action adventure just before the game launched.
I mean, it's more of an action adventure with some RPG elements.
It was supposed to be an RPG, and after a while, they started to think, you know what? Let's just propose this as a futuristic GTA, and that was the worst possible idea they could have done because
GTA 6, you guys.
since the game's launch, Cyberpunk has been nothing but dunked on in comparison to GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. But
It's unfortunate.
especially in regards to its AI and like the driving
Mhm.
AI, because apparently Cyberpunk's driving AI are very much on rails.
Yeah.
Like they have set paths. They don't actually have any kind of like freedom or individuality or whatever.
Mhm.
Same thing with the cops and the AI for that. It's like really bad, especially compared to GTA 5, which remember came out 7 years ago.
Yes, I did see a clip actually. Of Jay's 2 cents. He was playing Cyberpunk on PC, and all that he did was just like bump into the cop, and he just went all trigger happy, and he just started going off, and he actually killed an NPC before he even got to Jay, which I thought was pretty hilarious. Like it was just an NPC that happened to be walking in between, and just boom, gone.
There's a clip. There was a clip I saw where someone managed to get onto a rooftop because if you go hard enough, you can technically do some level of parkour. Which, by the way, one of the promises that was not fulfilled from initial tech demos and stuff like that was actually wall running.
Wall running, really?
There was apparently supposed to be wall running in the game. There is no wall running whatsoever in this game.
That is such a miss because
Um,
wall running sounds so cool.
Exactly. You could have had like a mirror's edge sort of thing. Like you'd be wall running and then like go to a mantis blade and just and then you can't do that.
I mean, that's why I play Naruto games.
Or just Mirror's Edge. Just Mirror's Edge. Or Ninja Gaiden, the 3D Ninja Gaiden games. I really like those.
Oh, wow. Aren't those like really hard?
Yes. Yes, they're faster paced Dark Souls.
Faster. Well, I mean, Bloodborne also.
Faster.
Oh, faster.
Faster.
All right, I'll give you that.
Was it very combo based actually?
Okay.
Very combo based. But what's it called? Yeah, this guy was on a rooftop
Mm.
and he shot like a very high rooftop,
Mm-hmm.
and he shot a tiny little pea-sized NPC. Turns around and there's 3 cops on the rooftop with him. Just immediately spawned in right there.
Imagine having like teleporters for your your like police NPCs there.
That's what it is. It's the future, all right? It's 2077. Police have access to teleporters, I guess.
Exactly.
That's the in-lore explanation.
Yeah.
They just haven't gotten up to that part.
It's just not like it's not considered canon yet, but
In any case, this game has proven to be, again, not necessarily bad, but a mess.
yes.
A huge mess.
And I would attribute like it being considered such a big mess, like just to the fact that it was really overhyped a lot. Obviously, like CD Projekt Red did a really good job with the marketing. Probably
Insanely
too
good.
good. Yeah.
It also helped that they had the goodwill from Witcher 3, which
Mhm.
I still haven't played, but everyone insists is one of the greatest games ever.
Yeah, I mean you have to. Like it's not a choice. You just have to play The Witcher 3.
I have it.
Yeah,
but
it's so that you don't forever hate CD Projekt Red for the issues.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them. Like my little experiences with the game, which we'll get into that a little bit later. My few experiences with the game have been relatively positive, but at the same time, also fairly early on.
Mhm.
And so as a result, I probably haven't really run into like the fact that the city is lifeless, like a lot of people say it is, or that the AI is really stupid.
Yeah.
Like I haven't run into those things yet. So like for me, it's like bugs aren't too big of an issue. The bigger issue is just a lot of those fundamental issues baked in there. And same thing, again, the story pass not really mattering that much. It's really disappointing.
That is unfortunate because I mean, like, if you think about it, like in something like Shin Megami Tensei, very different kind of game,
Mm-hmm.
extremely different kind.
Mm-hmm.
But like you do build up to whatever path you want to take, whether you want to go for law, chaos, or neutral. You usually three paths. Um, like you do start building up to that from the beginning, and then like more so like halfway through, you kind of already know like what path you're in. You're like, oh, okay. Wait, but what if I wanted this other thing? And you just can't really take it back unless you start a new game. But like you that will lead to pretty much a pretty different story just like all throughout. And it is going to change the way that characters interact with you and things like that. So like that's how you would want to handle something like this, like with
Mm-hmm.
branching story paths and things like that, depending on what alignment you go with.
Right.
So if they touted this and it doesn't really have much of an impact at all, then
It really
there's just no
doesn't.
point to it.
So like you have the three paths. You have your street kid, you have your nomad, and then you have your corpo.
Street kid.
Street kid is a kid that grew up in the ghetto. Nomad is on the outskirts. Corpo is corporate shill. I wanted to be the corporate shill because I thought, oh man, I get to play the bad guy.
I would be that one too.
And mild spoilers for the first 15 or so minutes of the game, I guess. But you immediately like lose your corpo status. And it's like
I'm not gonna ask how.
you have your three paths. You have your three paths, but all of them just kind of conversion to street kid basically. Like you start off as corpo, and then it's just like, oh, not anymore. Come on, let's just start a new life, and then we're right back into basically what you would have been as a street kid.
So okay, so you do have a chance to change your alignment per se.
No, you don't get the choice. It's like you choose one. You start there. You have the first 15, 20 minutes of the game there, and then you get railroaded into the same story that they were going to give you anyway, which is essentially, again, you're a person struggling on the streets trying to make it by. You know what I mean? Even if you're a corporate shill, you are going to be railroaded into struggling to get by.
You see, I thought that being a corporate shill would involve like just having a lot of sponsors when you walk around. You just go Skillshare or something like that in the
This
middle of the
podcast
street.
is not sponsored by Skillshare, by the way.
No, no, it is not.
You're sponsored by Anchor.
In fact, that is true. For those watching on Anchor or pretty much on like any audio platform, yes, you almost certainly hear the Anchor sponsorship.
Yeah.
But with that said, yeah, like it does suck to hear that things are going that way.
It
with
really
Cyberpunk.
is. I mean, and especially I just feel really bad for people who wanted to get it on console. You have a lot of people out there who are saying, oh, that's what you get for playing it on 7-year-old hardware. The problem is that the game was initially announced before that hardware even came out.
Yes.
Like it was announced in 2012.
Yeah. And they must have had like development kits for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox
Exactly.
One. But
And development started in 2016, and it was advertised for the longest time as being available for this generation of consoles. Like it was being made for this generation long before we even had confirmation of the Series X or PS5.
yeah.
So it should be able to run on those systems. Even if it is kind of downgraded, it should be able to run, and it frankly doesn't.
Yeah.
And even on PCs, a lot of people struggle to run them.
Mhm.
You need to get some of the higher tech stuff in order to be able to do that. Fortunately, for some people who may be still in line for a card, there is in fact hope coming in February. Is that correct?
Hope. Yes.
Transition.
Transition. So the 3080 Ti has been delayed until February. We were expecting a January launch, but it has been delayed until February. So who knows? Maybe it'll be a Valentine's Day special. But
I've fallen in love with this 3080 Ti.
with you.
The thumbnail has to be you, like kind of like cuddling and like.
Oh man, like I would have to Photoshop a 3080 Ti. It has to be Founders Edition though. That's the one I want.
So So it's been delayed into February.
Mhm.
Is there any specifically stated reason why?
I think it's just rumors right now, and I did see this article. I always forget by who, but there was an article that I saw like just when I went on Google Cards that the reason for it is just that there's no reason for them to bring it out so early because AMD's cards are great gaming cards, but they're not like great for everything necessarily. So people, or at least the person that wrote said article, was more so saying that um, that Nvidia delayed it because like it would give them more time to work on the card, and they don't have to rush something else out right now because when it comes to competition, it's not that intense for them, which I disagree with that take, and it does sound like very much opinion based. But hey, I mean, who knows? Like, what about what if Jensen went on Twitter and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna delay it because AMD is trash." Imagine.
I was thinking, or I guess hoping, that the reason for the delay was in order to try and like do their best to get more stock ready for the release.
I don't trust them with
I
that.
know that it came out not too long ago that the big reason why there was so many stock shortages is because they straight up didn't have enough chips due to pandemic issues. Or,
Right.
bleep that out. Due to these uncertain times.
Right. Due to these uncertain times.
So like I was thinking maybe they delayed it by a month so that they have a little bit more stock ready.
I don't think so. Because honestly, like rather than worrying so much about having more stock ready, what they could do to help with that is actually just make it so that their website, doesn't take bot orders.
Close enough.
Yeah, because okay, like I'll give you an example. Walmart and GameStop have finally started doing something about bots. And they've just been straight up straight up just canceling bot orders for the PlayStation 5, for example. And in fact, like in a matter of 2 hours, I think it was. I think it was in a matter of like 2 hours. They canceled 20 million bot orders.
Impressive.
Yes.
Let's give her a round of applause to
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm making very good use of the soundboard today.
Yeah, of course. I'm making use of every single sound effect.
Of course, we must give crickets to NVIDIA themselves.
Yeah.
For not doing very well with any of this.
Exactly.
And honestly, AMD a little bit too. Trying to be like, oh, we're gonna have ours in stock. No, you didn't.
No, they didn't. And, they didn't try hard enough to keep stock for actual people. But
Can I make use of this entire board today throughout these subjects? I'm gonna try.
I'll challenge you.
we got a couple of them down so far. We got let's see. We got a theme song. We got our. Okay, I'll make it work. I'll make it work.
Yeah, I mean the theme song is always a default. We always got that. And the like don't forget that. Whenever
I haven't done that one yet.
Okay.
We're not being funny enough.
Okay. I think we need to punny up. I was hoping for you to actually use that track for once on me.
So,
who needs it?
Okay, so what's it called? You were saying when it comes to dealing with the bots. Obviously, yeah, dealing with the bots is going to be the bigger thing, even if not just coming with more stock. Now, of course, 3080 Ti is looking to be a mighty fine card if you can get hold of one.
Yeah. Let's see if that is the case. Walmart and GameStop don't sell graphics cards, so it looks like some of the very few sites that are actually doing something about bots isn't going to have those cards in. Now, I know that other companies like PNY have actually had like a sign up for a queue for you to be able to order a card from them kind of thing. But I don't think NVIDIA is going to do jack anything about this.
Yeah, no. Honestly, it seems like your best bet is still going to be lining up for a physical micro center if there is one near you at opening.
You know what? That might be the way to go.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine actually who It's funny that you have the issue that you did with the AirPod Max because I had a friend of mine who
Mhm.
recently talked to me about an issue that they had where they were trying to get a 3080. I believe I'm trying to remember exactly which one it was. It wasn't Founders.
Which one?
Shoot, I'm trying to remember.
The overclocked edition, maybe.
No.
Do you remember what?
I'm
what
trying to. That's the
company?
thing. I'm trying to remember the company. It feels like it's on the tip of my tongue.
Asus, PNY, Gigabyte.
Gigabyte.
It was
I
Gigabyte.
believe it was Gigabyte.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. What's it called? They had the order in. They put the order in with Newegg. It was Newegg. They put the order in with a 3080. It was shipped out this month. It got over here, and then for whatever reason, they decided to just turn it around entirely. And when
they returned it to the factory,
and when they follow up with them about it, it's like, "Oh, sorry, stock. Wow, we'll give you a full refund. Really sorry about that."
Imagine, oh yeah, it's the only one that we had left, and we still have to send it to influencers.
They were beyond livid. They were beyond livid. They made it very clear to Newegg customer service too, being like, "I'm never using Newegg again." And you had the customer service kind of like begging, being like, "No, please, I'll give you $10 store credit. I'll give you $10 of credit."
$10 barely helps with paying with New York
I'll
City
give you
taxes.
$10 of credit, and they were just like, "Nope, I know you don't care. Stop. Goodbye.
Stop it."
Like it wasn't even like I mean my.
I feel horrible for him, but it's also hilarious from an outsider looking in.
It just feels like it just feels like a losing situation on both ends there. The customer service rep has to deal with someone who is very clearly distraught and is not going to there's no real way to like make them feel better without giving them a card. And then of course the person who didn't get the card, it's a just awful situation all around. The customer service rep can't really do anything about it.
Exactly.
I don't know what they did with the customer service afterwards. I don't know if maybe they filled out a survey and just gave ones across the board.
That would be so awful.
Did this customer service rep help you? Zero.
No. Oh, okay. Well,
zero.
We're gonna have we're gonna have a conversation with this person. The entire
the
corporate staff is just there surrounding them.
It just seems like a very awful situation though. The card was in the city. It was here. And then they just turn it around.
They were just like, bring it back.
It's like
someone made us a bigger offer.
It's like the card. It's like the card was in like a truck with a bunch of loud objects, and the driver was like, "Don't make me turn this truck around." And then they just turned it around.
Imagine
if this all home.
Imagine if this all happened like in the middle of an argument with with like his coworker or something. And he was like, "Don't make me turn this around. I will right now."
Maybe they're like in the middle of shipping it and they accidentally dropped it into the lake or something like that. And just like, we had to return it.
Yeah. For any further inquiries, please contact Newegg customer support. And
that is a hot L for Newegg there.
Yes.
We are down to 1.
Yes. And I'm just waiting for the time to use it.
No, I have not used that one yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But of
course, we have to talk about some good stuff.
Of course, that's the thing though. So 3080 Ti is coming out, and I feel very tempted about it myself. Of course, I don't necessarily need it because
you already have a 3070.
As of this week, the new machine has finally been built.
Yes. There we go. Wonderful.
I feel like that's the first time I've ever used that button on the podcast.
I think so. And you know what? That's fair because we always talk about bad news.
It's just...
Yeah, so here we actually have some good news. We managed to build a Ryzen 9 3950X PC with an RTX Founders Edition, RTX 3070, and 64 gigs of RAM with the available slots for future expansion to up to 128 gigs. And since you have Windows 10 Pro, and I actually found this out recently, so sorry that I made you buy the Pro version, but the Pro version actually supports up to 2 terabytes of RAM. It's the home version that is up to 128. Whoopsie daisy.
You know what I'm going to do next now, right?
upgrade
We're
to 2
getting 2
terabytes?
terabytes of RAM on there.
All right, sounds sick. You might have to upgrade your motherboard.
A
I mean, that's the
necessary sacrifice. I'll just wedge them in there. So yes, yeah. We got,
speaking of wedging in, oh my goodness,
oh yes, yeah, that's the thing you have to note. For the record, this entire build has in fact been documented and will in fact be uploaded as a video for Tech Summit.
yes, very, very, very soon. And
Of course, he decides not to record the best part of the entire build.
hey, you were in charge of the camera.
Yeah, but you I asked you, let's record this, and you're like, I don't know, I don't want to record my faults. So please,
I did say that.
let us talk about those faults.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna see if we somehow like still caught it, even if it was like a little bit accidentally. I mean, let's see. But I mean, if I did, like now, I think I am going to include it, but there's a high chance that we didn't. My fault. But what happens is that the cooler that we got was too big for his case, and it wasn't going to physically fit inside of the case if you wanted to have the glass side panel protect everything. So he bought one of those ugly
The Noctua.
yeah, like
ones.
the
The brand,
mug.
the mocha frappuccino flavored ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, he bought one of those, and it
mean-
ended up being too big. It was a 140 millimeter fan, which was just a little bit too big for the case to handle, which honestly surprised me. Like, I expected it to sit flush by itself already, and that wasn't the case. It was sticking out ever so slightly. So, because the top of the fan was obviously comprised of plastic, I was like, you know what? I want to get this build done. I think we should grab a nail filer, sandpaper, whatever we can, and just file it down until it fits. And we managed.
Came out looking clean.
Yes, it came out looking clean. I even got rid of the numbers on top.
So-
from sandpaper.
And I will say, for as much trouble as that particular cooler gave us, and for as ugly as it is compared to the RGB capital G gamer goodness,
it is very quiet.
it is extremely quiet.
Yeah, and that's
It is
ultimately very
so
important.
Quiet.
Yeah.
There was a brief moment a couple of days ago where I was panicking because I thought I was hearing noise, and my brother was like, "That's the heater."
That's hilarious.
And I was getting concerned that other parts were starting to heat up. Now we've completed the cycle.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I would consider that a pretty hot take. Thank you.
Double up.
All right. Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah,
All right.
so-
the entire board has been used.
Whole new PC build. It really is something for now. It did cost quite a bit. Combined with a 4K monitor that was about 27 inches. Yeah, 4K IPS monitor. Combined with that, the whole total bill was around $2,800.
You really love like putting that monitor into that PC build budget.
I am, in fact,
I'm very
putting
much
that
against it.
I put it into the budget.
I'm like, oh, they're
because-
different.
I mean, you need a screen to see things.
Yeah, but still.
You know, it's like, oh, great. I can't wait to use my new computer. You're just mindlessly clicking. You don't even know if you're clicking anything right. You probably just deleted Windows Firewall or something like that.
I mean, you had a TV and you already had a monitor actually already. But anyway, my point is that because it doesn't like directly go inside of the PC, like that's why I'm like, I don't think we should count that
I'm
as part of the
counting
bill.
I'm
Okay,
counting it. It's an
whatever.
ensemble.
All right, whatever. Now, with that said, I would like to make a live request, which means that you're kind of stuck to only answering one way, and that is, when the 3080 Ti is launched, can we wait by the Micro Center near you, because there isn't one near me, together?
I mean, I'm definitely thinking about it. Like,
Okay.
the 3070 has been very nice to me so
Mhm.
far.
Yeah.
I have not done GPU rendering tests. All my rendering tests have been CPU based.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, disclaimer for anyone who does decide to watch the video when it does go up. Those are not render tests with the 3070. Those are render tests with the 3950X.
Yeah. Nope. Because those are going to be a lot more CPU bound, right?
Huh?
because those are going to be a lot more CPU bound, right?
Well, if I'm doing base Arnold rendering, that's CPU based. There is Arnold GPU, but that's for Maya 2019 and above, and I'm using 2018.
You know, actually, because I lent you my Maya license, it did say that the 2019 version of it had been activated, which I found to be pretty interesting.
The download only gave me 2018 as an option.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'll look into it again, but yeah, same thing. Something I find interesting. Something I find interesting is
ideally
that something I find that I did pretty interestingly is that I put all of my work apps onto the SSD except for Maya.
Oh,
which is an interesting choice I made. I realized the error of my ways and thought, you know what, maybe I should put it on the SSD. And then it was like access denied.
what? Why?
It's like, nope. You've already said you're gonna put it on the HDD. That's it. Maya's going to the HDD.
That probably means you have to uninstall it.
I did uninstall it.
And so it made you do that?
I before I even installed it, I deleted everything off of it, and I'm like, try and put it in the SSD, and it's like access denied. Why?
Yeah, that's not fair. Like, you paid all this money for that sweet NVMe SSD, 2 terabytes, by the way.
Everything else is slotted in there, though, like FL Studio, which, oh my buttery Jesus, does that thing load up fast. Like, that little fruit is up on screen for maybe like a femtosecond before it's already booted up. You know, it's just,
nice.
Very nice.
I mean, you're definitely seeing like a massive jump in performance in comparison to the Ryzen 3 1300X.
Yes.
And the 1050 Ti. Yep. So like hey, like, I'm sure that you must be extremely happy.
I am satisfied.
I don't like hearing that. I built that PC. I filed down that cooler.
Satisfied.
I use my heart, sweat, and tears.
I am satisfied. Because, spoiler alert for the test, I'm still not getting 60 FPS on Flight Simulator.
Yeah, but...
I get 45 on high in 4K resolution. I have unrealistic expectations, and I want more. Okay, no, but actually...
In all fairness.
I gotta say, in extreme fairness, Cyberpunk, which is the other hardest game to run on PC right now, is getting up to 70 with max settings and ray tracing on for everything except for the lighting. I still get up to 70 FPS on that. And even when I put ray tracing lighting up to Psycho and everything is maxed out on every front, DLSS, ray tracing, textures, shadows, everything is all the way up to the maximum possible settings in 4K, mind you.
Right.
I am still getting 50s.
Which is honestly very playable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, some people might be saying, wait, 50s? Oh, you're supposed to be hitting the golden number of 60. Or like,
for a lot of people, that isn't even the golden number anymore. Now it's 120.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you had like this, like the FPS counter, you might not even notice that it's running in like the mid 50s.
Of course, though, Cyberpunk is the big test that I imagine a lot of people would look at as being like, wow, this is a really good PC. For me, it really did come down to the render times in Maya. Again, this is CPU based.
Yeah,
but I believe, I don't know if I sent you the picture, but I did have it in the recording footage I'm going to be sending to you.
Okay.
Of one of the scenes from my thesis that was not put into the version that we saw. You know, this is part of the final project, the therapy room, out of context for everyone else. And it took about 35 minutes to render on the older computer, and on the newer one, it was 6 minutes.
6 minutes
to render that one frame, with settings cranked up, possibly even higher than I remember them being. And I decided, you know what, let me play around with this. Let's do atmospheric volumetric lighting, which is always a absolute render killer. Like, it destroys your render times to get that volumetric lighting, you know, those God rays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I decided to play around with that, crank those up, and I cranked the settings up even higher than I did initially. And, you know, on the other computer, it easily would have been like an hour and a half, 12 minutes on this one.
Well, dude.
12 minutes.
Do you know what that means? Your workflow has officially dramatically improved.
It means I have no excuse to not continuously work, and that terrifies me. I can't be like, I gotta take a break. I gotta wait for this render to finish. I can't do that anymore because that render's gonna be done way, 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 way sooner. And I kind of hamper on this one too much, but I'm thinking this is a 3950X. Imagine if it was the 5950X.
It's only 13% improvement.
I know. Could have shaved another minute. I can't complain though whatsoever.
Would you be mad if I told you that I might be looking into the 5950X?
I hate you. This man is not involved in 3D rendering or modeling or anything of that sort. Just some little casual video edits.
Hey, it's more than casual.
Just some little casual video editing, and he's like, "All right, I gotta enter the arms race, beat him out." He beat out a mutual friend of ours. I gotta top that again. My little moment in the sun lasts all but maybe 2 months.
Hey, that's quite a while when you think about it. I mean, that's like 60 whole days. I'm just trying to make you feel good. Hey, but don't worry. Hey, this isn't a competition. It's just me trying to do my job better. That's all.
It's a little bit of a competition. I need that more than you do. But of course, what we also need is to conclude this episode.
Of course. Now, to all of you, thank you so much for stopping by tonight's episode. It was definitely a lot of fun. We covered a lot of topics today.
Significantly more than usual, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that I'm extremely happy that this coffee lasted all 46 minutes.
I'm just happy that I lasted throughout. I didn't sleep last night, so.
Oh my goodness.
I did not sleep last night. I took a 20-minute power nap on the way over here. That's about it. But of course, if you are following on YouTube and you're watching there, social media will be right here at the bottom of the video. If you guys are listening on your other platforms, other audio platforms, we have that stuff in the descriptions.
Of course. So anybody listening on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., now you know where to find all of our info. But with that said, this has been Francisco.
And Chris.
And we will be seeing you all on the next episode. Enjoy.
Good night. Travel well.